I'm going to introduce Mike with a little bit of my own words ahead. What I'm reading off now is, I understand, all done after 30 years working in a family business. A member of the Rotary Club of Newberg, Oregon. He helped organize 10 international projects relating to dental, medical, microcredit, construction, and education projects in Guatemala over an 8-year period with his Rotary Club. He's also traveled on Rotary business to Israel, Palestine, and Lebanon from 2017 to 19 and helped organize projects in the Middle East. He served as district governor in District 5100 during the 2011-12 Rotary year. And he is currently serving as the District 5100 Rotary Peace Fellowships Subcommittee Chair and Chair of District 5100 Peacebuilder Club's Committee. Mike is the founder of the Rotary Peacebuilder Club program, which began in 5100 in 2011. Since that time, due in part to the introduction of Peacebuilder clubs, District 5100 has successfully sponsored more than 20 Rotary Peace Fellows. Congratulations, that's amazing. Mike served as secretary on the board of directors of the Rotary Action Group for Peace in its inaugural year, which I believe was 2012, correct? Mike lives in Dundee, Oregon with his wife, Amelia, I'm not sure which way. And they have 5 children and 10 grandchildren. And I'm very happy to introduce you to Mike.
And thank you, Kristen, for making this contact and the invitation to speak to you. So if I can get this right, let me see how attentive I've been. President Dana, District Governor Steve, immediate past District Governor Nancy, District Governor nominee designate David, and members of the Bennington Rotary Club. So Kristen reached out to me a while back about Rotary Peacebuilder clubs. We had a conversation on the phone, I believe it was, and that your club may be, entertaining the possibility of becoming a Peacebuilder club. And yesterday she sent me some information regarding what your club's been doing in the area of peace building, and asked just basically what it is that Peacebuilder clubs do, how they were formed, and what the driving forces are that resulted in the growth of Peacebuilder clubs locally, nationally, and globally. So I'm thinking it'd be best if I gave you a short history on how we got started over here in District 5100 with Peacebuilder clubs, the original purpose, and how they evolved into what we have today. Then once we cover that, we can discuss the two-pronged approach that Kristen sent me yesterday to peace building and how it might fit into your vision, see how it aligns with what Rotary and Peacebuilder clubs can accomplish in your community. So to begin with, a short history, because our founder, Paul Harris, was a man of deep peace. And that said, I was just doing a little Googling of him, and I know he spent a bit of time in Vermont, and even noticed that he was quite a prankster in his early days, and he got expelled from Black River Academy up in Ludlow, and then he got expelled from the University of Vermont, and he ended up getting his law degree from Princeton. So I guess the people in Vermont must have straightened him out over the years he was there. But one of his famous quotes is, "The road to war is a well-paved highway. The road to peace is still a wilderness." And Rotary's history goes way back, almost to the inception of Rotary back in the early 1900s. And quite early on, they put peace into the charter, to the language of peace and fostering peace. And fast forwarding a little bit, Rotarians in London, England helped formulate the idea of the United Nations. And Rotarians in San Francisco, they served as delegates and or advisors to 27 of the original 49 charter countries of the UN in June of 1945. Currently, Rotary holds 3 seats at UNESCO. They're non-voting seats, but they are the only non-government organization to hold any seats at the United Nations. In the 80s, to honor Paul Harris, the Rotary leadership contemplated the establishment of a Paul Harris University. And after much research and discussion, it was decided that they would partner with universities across the globe who already were offering postgraduate degrees in peace and conflict resolution. So the initial universities, and it's changed over the years, some have kind of met the standards, some the Rotary leadership felt didn't quite have the component they needed, but the initial Rotary Peace Centers were 4 of which are continued today: Duke, North Carolina, University of North Carolina Share a Program, University of Bradford in England, University of Queensland in Australia, and International Christian University in Tokyo. They also had University of California, Berkeley, and Sciences Po University in France, but those 2 are no longer peace centers. And in 2014, they announced the addition of Uppsala University in Sweden. And in 2008, Rotary launched its first certificate peace center at Chulalongkorn University in Thailand. Now, the other schools I mentioned offer a master's degree in peace and conflict resolution. The program in Thailand was geared primarily to people who already had pretty much their vocations determined. So this program that started offered 2 sessions a year, January through March and June through August. It was a 3-month program, 10 weeks of study in classroom, and then 2 weeks of field study. And field study might include something like a trip to the Thai-Burmese border where they had the refugee camps. They had some field studies in villages in Nepal. Some of the earlier on when they started, they were allowed to witness some of the trials in Cambodia, the Pol Pot regime, the killing fields there. So they've had some very, very interesting studies. And the certificate program offers 50 fellowships a year. So each session, January through March and June through August, have 25 students in a class. At the universities with a master, each university accepts 10 students a year. So this is quite a spendy undertaking. It's several $1 million a year. And the Rotary Peace Centers funded this partly through Peacebuilder clubs, but primarily through donors who have a large passion for peace. The original goal of the Peace Centers was somewhere in the area of $75, $80 million. They reached that. So they increased it to 100 and then to 130 and then to 150. And finally, they reached $185 million amount and determined that this was enough. They looked at the Peace Centers, they saw the success of it, and they determined that the certificate program, I guess you would say, gave them the best bang for their buck. So they agreed to expand the certificate program. So the first program expansion is Makerere University in Uganda, and that is supposed to start in January of 2021. They also have on the docket, they're looking to open certificate programs in Northern Africa and the Middle East, one, and one in Latin America. These sites have not yet been determined. They're looking to have this complete within the next 5 to 8 years. So the program has changed, the certificate program. They are going to be, instead of 3-month program, they're going to be a 1-year program. There's going to be a, I believe it's a 2-week orientation, probably over something like Zoom in the United States. And then 3 months in country at Makerere University, and Chulalongkorn is going to do the same thing. So it'll be 2 weeks orientation, 3 months at the center, and then the remaining 8.5 months online. So it'll be a 1-year program instead of a 3-month program. And that is supposed to begin in January of 2021. So things have evolved quite a bit over the years. Now, back to District 5100, we attained Peacebuilder district status, meaning that we commit $25,000 of our district funds to the Rotary Peace Centers in early 2011, actually about 6 months before I became governor. And once we received this status, as it's quite an expensive undertaking for the district, we went around to the clubs and told them exactly what Peacebuilder District is and the Rotary Peace Centers and the Peace Fellows program. And after one of the meetings, some Rotarians came up and they said, well, since we're now a Peacebuilder District, can we be Peacebuilder clubs? And so that's where the idea first came from one of the Rotary clubs after a meeting. We looked into it. Nobody in our district had ever heard of it. We talked to our zone director, who was based in Central California. He'd never heard of it. He talked to people at Rotary International. They hadn't heard of it. And they basically said, well, go ahead. If we find any problems or looks like you're doing anything incorrectly, we'll let you know, but go ahead and start your Peacebuilder clubs and we'll see what happens. So then we had to decide what Peacebuilder clubs would do. Well, obviously, since we were a Peacebuilder District, felt it would be to support Rotary Peace Fellows, and that was our primary requirement to be a Peacebuilder club. The first requirement is to have a committee of 2 or more people interested in learning about Rotary and peace and support the Peace Centers either financially or by sponsoring a Rotary Peace Fellow. And that's when the sponsorship started really, really growing. Of these 20 Peace Fellows that we've had, that's out of about 45 applicants. And these Peace Fellows have been sponsored 95+% by Peacebuilder clubs. So we felt that was quite successful. As we started with 9 clubs in 2011, we started having meetings. We issued a certificate, a District 5100 Peacebuilder certificate. We had quarterly meetings to discuss what the clubs were doing, projects, what was going on with Rotary International in the field of peace. And of course, in 2013, the areas of focus came into play, and peace was, we feel, one of the key areas of focus. And so some of the things, we currently have 35 Peacebuilder clubs in District 5100. 33 are Rotary Peacebuilder clubs, and then we have Interact and Rotaract Peacebuilder clubs. And we were just starting to get this off the ground when COVID hit, and kind of hit us like a ton of bricks in this area as we weren't able to get out and visit. And there's only so much you can do by Zoom, but we're still working on it. And as soon as we can get out and visit again, we'll be working to expand this. Some of the things that Peacebuilder clubs have done: organized peace conferences, peace symposiums. There was a region of Peacebuilder clubs that we had that was doing an annual peace symposium. It was held on a Saturday in the spring at a community college. We were getting 80 to 150 members over the 5-year period that they did this. We started a Peace Polls project in 2016, and pretty much had participation from all of our Peacebuilder clubs and some that were not Peacebuilder clubs. And since we started this, we've planted over 300 Peacebuilder clubs across the district in Northern Oregon and Southwestern Washington. We've done some district grants with a peace focus. One program that's really caught on is called Peace Village. And it was actually started at a coastal town on the Oregon coast. Some upper class students at a high school, juniors and seniors, I think 2 or 3, decided they wanted to get the best of an underclassman. So they got this freshman into the library, cordoned off the door so he couldn't get out, and started just beating him almost to death. He ended up in the intensive care ward. And the school counselors and religious leaders in the community determined that something needed to be done. And this was in the late 80s when this happened. And in the early 90s, they came up with the idea of a Peace Village. Peace Village is a 5-day summer camp for students aged 6 to 13-year-old. And they spend this 5-day period teaching them through music, through art, through history, anti-bullying, how to solve problems non-violently on the playground. They gave them questions and discussions to take home to talk over with their parents. And this, although it was not Rotary instituted, kind of like polio. Once Rotary, my feeling is once Rotary gets its hands on something like this, we can take it to another level. So we've got about 7 Rotary clubs in our district, Peacebuilder clubs, that are sponsoring Peace Villages. They have a curriculum. They bring in speakers, volunteers. The idea is to identify children in the school district, students, some of whom are prospective leaders, and some of whom could be prospective problem students, and put them together and learn to solve problems like this. So it was a very good success in our district. And I had the opportunity to travel to Beirut, Lebanon in 2018 when President Ian Risley convened a conference on water, sanitation, hygiene, and peace. A Rotarian from a neighboring club who I'd gotten to know quite well through the Guatemala program invited me to go with him and his wife to Beirut. He was born actually in Baghdad, Iraq. His wife was born in Beirut. So we went to the conference, and then we spent about 5 days following the conference visiting Rotary clubs and basically talking about Peacebuilder clubs. And we took about a 2-hour drive north of Beirut to the city of Tripoli, which is a city of about 500,000 people, and met some members of a Rotary club, just had coffee, and we just said, we're here just to see, we were at this peace conference, water, sanitation, and peace. And if you might be interested in doing any projects peace related, and if so, we'd love to help you. We don't know what your problems are. We don't know what challenges you have. So we're just open for discussion. We don't have suggestions. We don't know Lebanon, you know Lebanon. And one of the women, I think we had coffee with 4 women from this Rotary Club. One of the women said, we've got a really serious problem of bullying in our schools. Well, they didn't have to say any more. I told them what the Peace Village program was and just said, this is a thought. If you think it might work, if you'd be interested. So we finished coffee, took a tour of the city. A few days later, I came back to the States. And then about 2 weeks later, I got an email from the president of that Rotary Club. And they said, we'd like to put on a Peace Village here in Tripoli. And we'd like to do it in July. And this was like March. I said, well, it takes a little time to organize this, the whole process. Well, long story short, the following February, we had a Peace Village in Beirut, Lebanon. We were able to get district funds. Several clubs chipped in. We ended up with a total of $14,000. So we were able to send the executive director of Peace Village Global and her assistant. So they attended the Peace Village, and my friend who travels to the area almost every year, has the condo just outside of Beirut. He went and observed the Peace Village. And the result was that they wanted to do at least 2 Peace Villages the next year, and then spread this through the 23 Rotary clubs in Lebanon across the country. So shortly after that, they had some, I don't remember the money, the lira got devalued, and then they had protesting in the streets, and so that was postponed, and then of course COVID, so we're on hold for that. But that's just an idea of some of the projects that we've come up. We've done global grants in Colombia. They did a peace symposium in 2018. We just completed a global grant with an organization called Every Woman Treaty, which is a program to get this treaty signed by the United Nations. few years down the road because it's a huge undertaking. But the person who wrote this global grant is a Rotary Peace Fellow. She was also from the first class at Universidad Salvador in 2002 and was a Peace Corps volunteer before that. She wrote this global grant training women in Nepal against for women's rights. So this is a $122,000 grant. It just got approved about 3 weeks ago. We needed to raise, clubs needed to raise $35,000 of this. We raised about 21 in our district. And then we went out to Peacebuilder clubs and we got donations from Beverly Hills, from Phoenix, Arizona, from Seattle, from Winnipeg, Virginia, and a club in Australia. So we got the $35,000 raised. And so this is another aspect of how Peacebuilder clubs can cooperate on global grants. So the grant is now fully funded. We have the blessing of Rotary International. It's ready to go, of course, because of COVID, and Nepal has been devastated with COVID. And we just found out a couple of weeks ago that one of the key members of the group putting together the project of training these women in Nepal as to their rights came down with COVID. So we are, they're doing okay, but we're just, everything seems to come down to COVID these days. But that's where we're at on that. Other programs that we have, we do have, we've gone from quarterly meetings to bi-monthly meetings. There's a person at Rotary International by the name of Fergal McCarthy. He was hired by Rotary International about 2 years ago, and he coordinates all peace programs with Rotary International. So he coordinates the Rotary Peace Fellows, the Rotary Action Group for Peace, the Institute for Economics and Peace, anything peace related. Fergal McCarthy works on. Also, he works with the United Nations, the delegates that we have there. And he said we also have a presence at virtually every United Nations office around the world. So in South America, in Asia, in Europe. So he is very, very busy, and he gives me a rundown about a week before we have our bi-monthly meetings. These take about an hour and a half. I'm not sure I'm not sure if you're familiar with Dean Roars. She was former vice president of Rotary International. She's originally from South Africa, but now lives with her husband in British Columbia. She gave a program to our Peacebuilder Club Committee, a presentation about intercountry committees. And this is something that I only heard about a couple of years ago. President Holger Knack is huge on intercountry committees. In fact, he's designated the day before the Rotary International Convention, hopefully in Taipei. He's put the day before the convention, devoting it entirely to intercountry committees. Apparently there's 40 or 50 intercountry committees in Europe. The first one was between Germany and France back in the 30s. But there's just kind of, to me, it seems like a cross between a friendship exchange and international projects. Doing projects in, I tuned into, they meet every month. I tuned into the Russia-USA Intercountry Committee meeting. The president of the committee was from Seattle. There were people on the call from DC, from California, and a fellow from Novosibirsk, Russia, and he was talking about a park they were putting in, and they wanted to make it handicapped accessible. And all of these people, the fellow in Washington, D.C., we've done these kind of projects before. We can help you get started. We can get this going and that going, and the fellow in California. So it was a wonderful experience. So President Holger really would like to get intercountry committees going in this part of the world, North America. So that's an idea of some of the projects. Peacebuilder clubs expanded outside of District 5100 in 2016 when District 7610 in Northern Virginia and the DC area introduced Peacebuilder clubs. And then District 5240 in Central California started Peacebuilder clubs. There's about 10 in Virginia right now, and the California district has about 24. And then in 2018, the Rotary Action Group for Peace at the Toronto International Convention started promoting Peacebuilder clubs worldwide. And one of the first new ones that they got was the Rotary Club of Birmingham, Alabama, which claims to be the largest Rotary club in the world, 647 members. Also, a lot of Rotary clubs in Ohio and Virginia and Florida, all over the country, Michigan. They have them in England. Serbia has 3 Peacebuilder clubs. Uganda has one that I know of for sure. Nigeria has 4 or 5. Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast has a Peacebuilder club. Egypt, Philippines, New Zealand, Australia. There's over 250 now. And the Rotary Action Group for Peace has an interactive map that you can go to and see where the Peacebuilder clubs are. So that's sort of what I have on that. Regarding Kristen's internal, external facing suggestion for Peacebuilder clubs or peace projects. On the internal side, just a couple of notes that I made that have, of course, have a peace committee, 2 or more persons, and learn about Rotary's history of peace, and then share this with the club members and the community at large. On the external side, of course, is any kind of peace projects, planning peace bowls, possibly Martin Luther King Day events we do here in Newberg. There's a city committee that does that, and our peace committee helps them with that. International Day of Peace events on September 21st every year. Earth Day, that's when we started planning the peace bowls, as Earth Day 2017. Possibly start a book club around racial justice. This one book that I don't know if you've heard of this one or not, or if you can see it. How to be an anti-racist. We had a situation with our school board. They put together an anti-racist statement, and all but one person signed, agreed upon it. But one fellow said no, he doesn't. He thinks we've got enough peace programs and so on. So there was kind of an outrage, and they had a lot of online school board meetings with a lot of input from teachers, students, community members at large. And one of the Latinx teachers offered to do a program, a book club program, going through this book at length on how to be an anti-racist. Also, was mentioned of the movie The Uncomfortable Truth that Kristen mentioned. Would be a great thing to do, view that with club members and community members, and then have discussions afterwards. So the possibilities, to my mind, are pretty endless as to how you can go forward. One thing I always mention is, we have Peacebuilder clubs here in our district, and they work well for us. That doesn't mean, every club has its own culture. Every district has its own culture. And so what works here might not necessarily work in Arizona or Vermont or Florida or Illinois. But the woman who is a district governor-elect for the Seattle District 5030 was their peace chair. They attended a number of meetings that we had, and I sent her all the information that we had about how we got started here. And she said that we just took what fit Seattle. not everything that's going to work in Portland and the state of Oregon is going to work in Seattle and Washington. And the same idea is taken from when they started Peacebuilder clubs in Virginia and California and Phoenix. We don't really have, we've got a very, very broad blueprint, which we feel any club can make work because it's just so broad. You take, this works, okay, we don't have this, can do this. And it's worked very, very well for Seattle and California. And that's what we encourage clubs and districts to do with the Peacebuilder Club program. And so far, we haven't had our hands slapped by Rotary International. In fact, we got a lot of support from them. So that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to take them.
Helene has just put together a global grant with a lady from the Los Angeles Downtown Club, Betty Walker, for peace clubs at high schools in the Cape Town area of South Africa.
Awesome.
And she's also a member of the inter-country committee between, was it Germany and, I'm not sure which inter-country committee, so she's actively involved with that also.
Yeah, I actually, I serve on the ICC board for my district. It's not an inter-country committee, so it's not between districts, but our 3 districts couldn't come to an agreement. So the ICC board just put me on for South Africa, and I just go along with it. I go to the meetings and tell everybody what's happening. But it's inter-country committees is actually, or inter-country is actually very interesting because you meet some absolutely wonderful people, and it gives you the opportunity to do global grants or to find a partner for global grants.
Right.
So accepting the fact that they work around peace as well, I think that's a very important aspect of Rotary. It wasn't very much part of Rotary. It's now becoming part. And yes, Holger Knack is very involved. I actually work very closely with Germany. So we've done quite a few things together. So, yeah. Excellent. And we also, by the way, we also do the applications for the peace. I look after scholarships, have done for a number of years. And I'm on the committee who interviews the peace scholar applications for Africa. So we've been doing, I've never known how to do Zoom, but we did it on the cell phone, with WhatsApp. And we've been interviewing the applicants from Africa for the past 5 years like that, which has been very difficult because we're 3 people and then you all try to get your face into the cell phone, which doesn't really work. And years ago, we actually had a peace scholar who became the High Commissioner in India. And he was the main speaker at one of the international Rotary conventions. So, but lately we haven't been successful.
Nancy, did you have a question? No. Jonah?
Michael, I just did a quick Google search for Rotary Peace Villages, and I'm not seeing an obvious place to get more information about other programs that have been done around this Peace Village idea. I'm very intrigued by this. Could you point us to a specific site or perhaps give us a contact for more information on that?
Yeah, it's not Rotary based. So Peace Village Global, if you would Google that, and I one of the board members of Peace Village Global is in our Rotary Club. I can, if you can give me your email, I can have him contact you.
It's my name at Gmail.
Jonah Spivak?
That's correct. Thank you.
Not a period in between?
No, nothing in between.
Okay. I will have him get a hold of you. And then, like I say, if you Google Peace Village Global, it will send you to the website.
Thank you.
Yes, Randall.
Yeah, Michael, I was just trying to work out the relationship between Peacebuilder clubs and the Rotary Action Group for Peace. Because I see there, Peace Builder clubs are mentioned there. I'm just trying to understand the relationship or the history.
Well, the Rotary Action Group for Peace promotes and supports Peacebuilder clubs on a global basis. I have kind of gotten a bit away from that just because there has been so much going on in our district with the programs and projects that have been going on, and like I say, growing this Interact Peacebuilder clubs and Rotaract Peacebuilder clubs. Reem Gunayam, Ghuniam, is the executive director of the Rotary Action Group for Peace. And on their website, they have an application for Peacebuilder clubs. We do ours a little bit differently because this is a little story about when we got started. Peacebuilder clubs started right after we became a Peacebuilder district. So we were doing a lot of programs and projects, and some members of the TRF board, past governors and whatnot, were a little bit concerned that we had these Peacebuilder clubs. The district's putting out $25,000 for the Peacebuilder district status, and they weren't getting anything per se from Peacebuilder clubs. So every year when we'd go over the budget, I would be called in, and they would say, you know, you guys aren't helping. You guys just doing your own thing, and your Peacebuilder clubs, and we're putting up all the money. And I took it as kind of, well, so you want to punish us for being Peacebuilder clubs by charging us. And finally, after a lot of discussion, they came up with a suggestion that based on the size of the club, they would assess a $2.50 fee. So if you had a 10-member club, their fee would be $25 a year to be a Peacebuilder club in District 5100. I kind of reluctantly said, oh, this is what they want. This is what we're going to do. 200-member club would be paying $500 a year. We capped it at $500. We took it to the clubs at our bi-monthly meeting, and they all voted to accept this. And actually, it turned out to be one of the best things we ever did. We've got nothing but support now from the district leadership, the governor line. Every year at the district conference, we have a session for Peacebuilder clubs, an update of what's going on. Now they actually give us a budget of anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 a year for clubs doing projects that they themselves can't afford. So it's a great program. Now, the Rotary Action Group for Peace, a lot of our members of our Peacebuilder clubs are members of the Rotary Action Group for Peace. But the Rotary Action Group for Peace program, they have their own system. I'm not sure how it's working, of a fee of $100 per club per year for the Rotary Action Group for Peace. Now you can fill out the form and send it in, and you will receive a certificate. The $100 fee is requested or suggested, but it's not a deal breaker. There's probably a lot of clubs in Africa or Asia that small clubs, and $100 a year is a huge amount of money for them. On the other hand, larger clubs, it's nothing. So it depends on, like I say, each individual club and each individual district, how they want to do it and how they want to participate. Yes, Kristen.
Mike, I guess that I have a related question. So it sounds like a club can't be a Peacebuilder club unless there's a district or maybe the action group involved. Is that true?
No. In fact, one of the reasons when we first started Peacebuilder clubs was to not have the requirement of being a Peacebuilder district, because a lot of districts, most districts can't afford $25,000 a year out of their district funds. The idea is if we get enough Peacebuilder clubs in a district and that district does have the resources, that maybe they would eventually become a Peacebuilder district, because that of course supports the Rotary Peace Centers, and that is basically why we started to begin with. Although now there's so many programs and projects and other things going on that I'm not sure how many clubs are actively involved with identifying or financially supporting the Rotary Peace Centers. But yeah, the idea being you don't need to be a member of the Rotary Action Group for Peace. You don't need to be basically a member of anything. I mean, a Rotary Club, obviously. And if the district talks over the idea, the district leadership, and has a person in the district they identified who would be the peace chair, they could start this. We do get a lot of support from Rotary International. We are not a sanctioned organization like a Rotary Action Group or anything, but we are recognized by Rotary as, if someone is looking to do something in the field of peace, they might be suggested by Fergal McCarthy or someone at the Rotary Peace Centers to look into Peacebuilder clubs. And I get a lot of calls from, just a few weeks ago, I got a call from a district governor in Edmonton, Alberta. They wanted to start positive peace clubs coming from the Institute for Economics and Peace and their 8 pillars of positive peace. They were recommended, well, Rotary doesn't want to get another title for another type of club. And they were suggested to look into Peacebuilder clubs, and their focus could be positive peace and the Institute for Economics and Peace and global peace work in that way. I don't know if that makes sense but.
Yep, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions for Michael?
Well, your description of the school board situation reminds me of the situation we're in Bennington. One of our school board members has been posting pretty blatantly racist comments on social media, and it was discovered that he was doing that. I think the worst was, where is eugenics when we need it? And I don't know if you're aware of eugenics, but it's the process of involuntarily sterilizing people so that the right people live and the wrong people don't get to make future generations.
Right.
And it actually was a very active program in Vermont. So the whole content of the things he said has been very, very disturbing. And the community has been going in large numbers to school board meetings. And so it just rings a bell locally.
We had a Oregon Historical Society based in Portland. There's just a wonderful organization about the history of Oregon and its founding. And head of that organization gave a presentation to a group of Rotarians about 3 or 4 weeks ago, starting from the Constitution, about the deep-seated racism in Oregon. It's just amazing. He said the Constitution starts out beautiful. Everyone has the right to do this. Everyone has the right to do this. And then you get about 3 paragraphs in and says, but Negroes are not allowed, but Chinamen are not allowed, but Indians are not allowed. And Oregon was practically admitted as a Southern state, Confederate state. It wasn't. It was a Union state, but there was so much support. The Klan was huge in the 1800s in Oregon. It's not. That's yes. Some people, you see Oregon as this great liberal state and all this going on, but you get outside of the Portland area and Eugene area, and it's very, very, very conservative. Very.
Well, thank you for speaking to us. You've opened a lot of doors and windows.
Yes,
Thank you. I hope I didn't make you more confused than before we started.
No,
No.
and it's,
only in a good way, because there's so much info out there.
yeah, and I hope we can take it somewhere locally in our district. So thank you, Mike.
Any way I can help, just let me know.